Welcome back. We are reading The Best Christmas Pageant Ever by Barbara Robinson, and we are in chapter 3. It reads, Mrs. Robinson, who was still trying to run things from her hospital bed, said that the same people always got the main parts. But it's important to give everybody a chance, she told Mother over the telephone. Let me tell you what I do. Mother sighed and turned off the heat under the pork chops. All right, Helen, she said. Mrs. Armstrong called Mother at least every other day, and she always called at supper time. Don't let me interrupt your supper, she always said, and then went straight ahead and did it anyway. My father paced up and down the hallway, saying things under his breath about Mrs. Armstrong. Here's what I do, Mrs. Armstrong said. I get them all together and tell them about the rehearsals, and that they need to be on time and pay close attention. Then I tell them the main parts are Mary, Joseph, the wise men, the angel, the Lord, and then I always remind them that there are no small parts, only small actors. Do they understand what that means? Mother asked. Oh, yes, Mrs. Armstrong said. Later, Mother asked me if I knew what it meant all about small parts, small actors. I really didn't know. None of us did. It was just something Mrs. Armstrong always said. I guess it means that the short kids have to be in the front row of the angel choir so nobody can see them? I thought so, Mother said. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that every single person in the pageant is just as important as every other person, and that the smallest angel boy is just as important as Mary. Well, go tell that to Alice, I said. And Mother told me not to be so fresh. She didn't get very mad, though, because she knew I was right. You could have a Christmas pageant without any baby angels, but you couldn't have one without Mary. And Mrs. Armstrong knew it too. Now, I always start with Mary, she told Mother over the telephone. I tell them we must choose our Mary very carefully because Mary is the mother of Jesus. Well, I know that, Mother said. Why don't you get off the telephone and cook the pork chops? Yes, well, I tell them that our Mary should be a cheerful, happy little girl who is unselfish and kind to others. Then I tell them about Joseph, that he was God's choice for Jesus' father, and that our Joseph ought to be a little boy. And then she went on and on and on as far as the second wise man, when Mother said, Helen, I've got to go now. There's somebody at the door. And actually, there was somebody at the door. It was my father, standing out on the porch with his coat and hat, leaning on the doorbell. The Mother let him in. He took off his hat and bowed to her. Lady, can you give me some supper? I haven't had a square meal in 3 days. Oh, for goodness sake, Mother said. Come on in. What will the neighbors think, seeing you standing out here ringing your own doorbell? And why didn't you ring the doorbell 10 minutes ago? Mrs. Armstrong called Mother 2 more times that week to tell her about that people could hem up the costumes but couldn't cut them, and to tell her not to let the angel choir wear lipstick. And by Sunday, Mother was really quite sick of the whole thing. After church, we all filled into the back 7 pews, along with 2 or 3 of the Sunday school teachers who were supposed to keep everyone quiet. It was a terrible time trying to keep everyone quiet. All the little kids were tired, and all the big kids were hungry, and all the mothers wanted to go home and cook supper, and all the fathers wanted to go home and watch football on TV. Now, this isn't going to take very long, Mother told us. My father had said it better not take very long, because he wanted to watch the football game too. He also wanted to eat, he said. He hadn't had a decent meal all week. First, I'm going to tell you about the rehearsals, Mother said. We're going to have our rehearsals Wednesday at 6:30. We're only going to have 5 rehearsals, so you must all try to be present at each and every one. What if we get sick? The little kid asked in the front pew. You won't get sick, Mother told him, which is exactly what she told Charlie the morning Charlie said he didn't want to be a shepherd and would be sick to his stomach if she made him be one. Now, you little children in the cradle room and primary are going to be our angels. You'll like that, won't you? They all said yes. What else would they say? Older boys and girls are going to be shepherds and guests at the end and members of the choir. Mom was really zipping along, and I thought how mad Mrs. Armstrong would be about all the things she was leaving out. All we need is Mary, Joseph, the 3 wise men, and the angel of the Lord. They aren't hard parts, but they are very important parts. So these people must absolutely come to every rehearsal. What if they get sick? It was the same little kid, and it made you wonder what kind of little kid he was, being so interested in sickness. They won't get sick either, Mother said, looking a little cross. Now, we all know what kind of person Mary was. She was quiet and gentle and kind, and the little girl who plays that should try to be that kind of person. I know many of you would like to be Mary in our pageant, but of course we can only have one Mary, so I'll ask for volunteers, and then we all decide together which girl should get the part. That was safe enough to say that the only person who ever raised her hands was Alice. But Alice just sat there, chewing on a piece of her hair and looking down at the floor, and the only person who raised her hand this time was Imogene Herdman. Do you have a question, Imogene? Mother asked. I guess that's the only reason she could think of for Imogene to have her hand up. No, Imogene said. I want to be Mary. She looked over her shoulder. And Rolf wants to be Joseph. Yep, Rolf said. Mother just stared at him. It was like a detective movie when that nice little old gray-haired lady sticks a gun in the bank window and says, "Give me all your money." And you just can't believe it. Mother just couldn't believe this. Well, she said after a minute, we want to make sure everyone has a chance. Does anyone else want to volunteer for Joseph? No one did. No one ever did, especially Elmer Hopkins. But he couldn't do anything about it because he was the minister's son. One year he didn't volunteer to be Joseph, and neither did anyone else. And afterwards I heard Reverend Hopkins talking to Elmer out in the hallway. You're going to be Joseph, Hopkins said, and that's it. I don't want to be Joseph, Elmer told him. I'm too big, and I feel dumb up there. And all those little kids give me a pain in the neck. I understand that, Reverend Hopkins said. I can even sympathize. But until someone else volunteers for Joseph, you're stuck with it. Nobody's ever going to do that, Elmer said. I've even offered Grady Baker 50 cents to be Joseph, and he won't do it. I'm going to have to be Joseph for the rest of my life. Cheer up, Elder Hopkins told him. Maybe someone will turn up. I bet he didn't think that somebody would be Rolf Herdman. All right, Mother said. Rolf will be our Joseph. Now, does anyone else want to volunteer for Mary? Mother looked around, trying to catch somebody's eye. Anybody's eye. Janet, Roberta, Alice. Why don't you want to volunteer this year? Don't you want to volunteer this year? No, Alice said as low as you could hear her. I don't want to. No one wanted to be Wiseman either, except for Leroy, Claude, and Ollie. And there my mother was stuck with a Christmas pageant full of Herdmans in the main roles. There was only one Herdman left, and only one main role left. And you didn't have to be very smart to figure out that Gladys was going to be the angel of the Lord. What do I have to do? Gladys wanted to know. The angel of the Lord is the one who brings the good news to the shepherds, Mother said. Right away, all the shepherds began to wriggle in their seats, trying to figure out what good news Gladys could bring them. Fearing that any news that Gladys brought them would come with a smack in the teeth. Charlie's friend, Hobby Carmichael, raised his hand and said, I can't be a shepherd. We're going to Philadelphia. Well, why didn't you say so before? Mother said. I forgot. Another kid said, my mother doesn't want me to be a shepherd. Why not? Mother said. I don't know. She just said, don't be a shepherd. One kid was honest. Gladys Herdman hits too hard, he said. My glass isn't going to hit anybody, Mother said. What an idea. The angel just visits the shepherds in the field and tells them that Jesus is born. And hits them, says one kid. Of course he was right. You just could picture Gladys whamming the shepherds left and right, but Mother said that was perfectly ridiculous. I don't want to hear another word about it, she said. No shepherds may quit or get sick before the little kid in the front pew could ask. With everyone leaving, Mother grabbed Alice by the arm and said, Alice, why in the world didn't you raise your hand to be Mary? I don't know, Alice said, looking mad. But I knew. I heard Imogene Herdman tell Alice what would happen to her if she dared volunteered all the ordinary everyday Herdman things like conking you on the head and drawing pictures all over your homework papers and putting worms in your pockets. I don't care, Alice told her. I don't care what you do. I'm always Mary in the pageant. And this spring, Imogene went on, squinting her eyes, when the pussy willows come out, I'll stick a pussy willow so far down your ears nobody can reach it. And it'll sprout there, and it'll grow and grow, and you'll spend the rest of your life with a pussy willow bushes coming out your ear. You had to admire her. That was the worst thing that any of them had ever thought of. And of course, people might not think that could actually happen, but it could. Ollie Herdman had done it once. He got this terrible head earache at school, and when the nurse looked in his ear, With her little lighted tube, she yelled so loud you could hear her all the way down the hall. He's got something growing down there, she hollered. They had to take Ollie to the hospital and put him under and dig out a sprouted pussy willow out of his ear. So that's why Alice kept her mouth shut about being Mary. You know, she wouldn't do all those things she said, I told Alice as we walked home. Oh, yes, she would, Alice said. The Herdmans would do anything, but your mother should have told them no. Somebody should put Imogene out of the pageant, and every last one of them. They'll do something terrible and ruin the whole thing. I thought she was probably right, and so did a lot of people. And for 2-3 days, it was all anyone could talk about was the the Herdmans being Mary and Joseph and all. Mrs. Homer MacArthur called Mother to say that she was thinking about it, and if the Herdmans wanted to participate in our Christmas celebrations, why don't we let them hand out programs at the door? We don't have programs for the Christmas pageant, Mother said. Well, maybe we ought to get some printed and have the Herdmans in charge of that. Alice's mother told the lady's aide that it would be sacrilege to let Imogene Herdman be Mary. Somebody who had never heard of called Mother up on the telephone and told her name was Hazelback, and she lived on Sprawl Hill, and that it was true that Imogene was it true that Imogene Herdman was going to be Mary, the mother of Jesus, in the church play? Yes, Mother said. Imogene is going to be Mary in our Christmas pageant. And the rest of them too? The lady asked. Yes, Rolf is going to be Joseph. The others are going to be the wise men and the angel of the Lord. You must be crazy, this Mrs. Hazelback told Mother. I live next door to that outfit with their yelling and screaming and their insane cat and their garage door going up and down all day long. And let me tell you, you're in for a rowdy time. Some people said it wasn't fair that the whole family, who didn't even go to our church, should barge in and take over the pageant. My father said that somebody had better lock up the Women's Society silver service. My mother just said she'd rather be in the hospital with Mrs. Armstrong. But then the flower committee took a potted geranium to Mrs. Armstrong and told her what was going on, as she nearly fell out of the bed, traction bars and all. I feel personally responsible, she said. Whatever happens, I accept the blame. If I'd been up and around and doing my duty, this would never happened. And that made my mother so mad she couldn't see straight. If she had been up and around, it would never happened, Mother said. That woman. She must be surprised that the sun still comes up every morning without her to supervise the sunrise. Let me tell you. Don't tell me, my father said. I'm on your side. I just mean that Helen Armstrong is not the only person alive who could run a Christmas pageant. Up until now, I had made up my mind to do the best I could under the circumstances. But now, she stabbed a meat fork into the pot roast. I'm going to make this the very best Christmas pageant anyone has ever seen, and I'm going to do it with the Herdmans, too. After all, they raised their hands and nobody else did, and that's that. And so it was. For the first time, nobody else wanted to take over the pageant, with or without the Herdmans. And, for another thing, Reverend Hopkins had got fed up with all the complaints and told everybody where to get off. Of course, he didn't say, don't jump into the lake, Mrs. Watkins, or anything like that. He just reminded everybody that when Jesus said, suffer the little children to come unto me, Jesus meant all the little children, including the Herdmans. And so that shut everyone up, even Alice's mother, and the next Wednesday we started the rehearsals. End of chapter 3.